Hello everyone, this is Ashish Saini from Innovate Yourself. Welcome back to my channel. Once again, I am back with a new video on Rasa chatbot. Like in a previous video, I have already shown you that how you can store the conversation using the tracker store. So this time we are not going to use a tracker store because that I have already shown you that how you can do it, and the same format you can apply for the Rasa 2.x versions as well. So you don't have to do any further changes to that. You can use the same version, and accordingly you can store the conversations, or let's say you can store the complete chats into that tracker store in whatever database you are going to store into. But this time we are going to do a custom thing, so that if in case I wish to store the conversation into, let's say, CSV format, text format, Excel format, or in whatever format you want to store the conversations to, so you will be able to store the conversation in that way. So that is all that we will be doing in today's session. Now let's not waste time, so let's straightforward go to the project and let's understand how to do that. So let's get started. Alright, so you can see this is a project which we were already covering in the previous session. So there we have some of the conversation that I will be using right now to show you the demonstration that how we can collect that data and how we can further store that data in whatever formats we want to store into, right? So that's all that we will be doing right now. Now to do that, first of all, let me show you what is the conversation that we are having right now. So for that, go to the stories.yml. So over here you can see that we have a story, and into that story I have a conversation path, something like greet. Based on that greet, you will be asking, or let's say your bot will be asking you, what can I do for you, and you will be asking like, I want to know the credit card account balance. Based on that, you will be asked for the account number, so you will be providing that account number, and after that it will ask you for the nationality, like where do you belongs to. So you will say like, I belongs to India, I belongs to some other country. So that's all that we have. Now at the end, when my complete conversation is done, it will show me like what is my account balance, or let's say what is my credit card account balance. So that's what it will show you. And at the end, after the conversation is complete, what I want to do is, whatever conversation I had with my chatbot, I want to store all the conversation, right? So for that, just after this last step, or let's say just after this last action, I just want to store the complete conversation. So this is what exactly I'm going to do right now. So for that, the simple thing that I understand from here is that simply you require an action and nothing else. But if in case you want to test this complete thing separately, then that's a different thing. But right now, if you don't want to add some separate thing, or let's say if you don't want to create a complete conversation for that storing the data, then in that case we can simply call that action just after this, right? Just after this action along with the bot reply, right? So that's all that we will be doing. Now after that, to do that, let's do one thing. Go to the actions, because we have to create an action that will be used to collect all the data whatever you will have with the conversation, or let's say whatever conversation you will have with your chatbot. So you will collect all the data for that, and that complete conversation will be stored later on, right? So that's all that we will be doing. So firstly, let me show you by creating a function, or let me first create an action so that I can show you that from where I will be collecting all my user chats. So that's all that I will show you right now. So for that, just go to actions.py. So over here, like currently everything is commented, so there is nothing that I can use right now. So that means that is by default code which I'm having right now. So let me do one thing, let me uncomment this code so that I can use it and I can create my first custom action. So that's all that I will be doing right now. Now over here, yeah, this is my first action, and currently if you want to change the name, you can change it. Let's say I will give it a name as save conversation. So that is what I'm having, and change this one also so that it will be understood. Save conversation, right? So I have created an action, and one more thing is that I have to store this action, or let's say I have to add this action inside the domain.yml file. And what is the complete process, how it is working, I have already explained it in many videos of mine where I have shown you that how you can use the custom actions. So you can check in there. So right now let me do one thing, let me add the actions over here so that this action is registered inside the domain, and while I will be calling, or let's say while I will be talking to my bot, my complete conversation flow will go on, and based on that, if in case I will be calling this action anywhere, it should be able to execute that. So that's all that we will be doing. And one more thing, if you want to execute that code, you already know that you will not be able to execute the code if inside the endpoints you will not uncomment these lines, because these are the custom action endpoint which will be activated, or let's say which should be activated if in case you want to make your action server work. So, or let's say if in case you want to make your action server link to the Rasa server, right? So that is what I'm doing right now. So I have uncommented that. Now go to the actions. In here I have this, and what else, I have made the changes over here. And one more thing that I have to do right now is I have to add this. Where I have to add this, I have to add it inside stories. As I said that I will be calling this action just after my conversation ends, right? So just add it here like another action. And what will be the another action? That you will be saving your conversation. So this is what we will be doing right now. Now, okay, I got it. I have the complete conversation. I'm doing everything. But at the end, my last thing is that my conversation will be saved based on the custom action. But for that, firstly, you have to write a code for it, because currently what I have done, I have simply printed one message which is hello world, or example, or I can change it. Let's say all chats saved. So for example, I have printed this message, but this will not save the conversations, right? So to do that, I have to write a custom code, and that custom code will be written in here so that I can collect all the conversation and I can store it in the format that I want to store it. And I want to store the conversation in the text format and the CSV format. I will show you how to do it in both the formats in today's session. So just wait for it. So firstly, before storing it to some conversation, or let's say to some pattern, or let's say to some format, what we need is, we need the complete conversation. And let me show you where you can get the complete conversation. So firstly, let me do one thing. Let me show you by printing the complete conversation. So for that, I can get the complete conversation from tracker.events. So when you will print this, you will be able to get the complete data, everything, all the information related to the entity extraction, intent extraction, what is the intent classified, what is the entity values, what is the parse data, what is the let's say message ID. So everything, all the details that you require while talking to your bot, or let's say that is executed or generated while talking to your bot, all the things you will get in here, right? So that is the reason I am calling this, and after that I will be just manipulating this data so that I can get the complete information and I can further store it in CSV format or into the text format. So that's all that I will be doing right now. Now let's do one thing. Let's first of all train the bot, because we have made some changes to that and we don't have to make any further changes to it. So for that, just train the bot, right? And other than that, now as I have made my endpoints active, or let's say as I have made my action endpoint active, now I can also run the action server as well. So just write Rasa run actions for that. So firstly, when I will run this action server right now, when this custom action will be called, it will just print the complete details. It will just print the complete chat data in the output window over here, or in the terminal, right? So this is where you will get the complete details, and after that we have to manipulate that data to store it to the different formats. So let's wait for it to finish, and let's see. Alright, so now you can see the model is trained, and now we can talk to the bot and let's understand what is the complete conversation that we have right now, right? So let me go in here, and you can see action server is also running. Now that, let's run Rasa shell. I'm running it in debug mode. Alright, so you can see The Rasa shell is also up and running, right? Now let's talk to the bot. So let's say hello. Okay, so I want to know about my credit account balance. So what's your account number? So let me just pass it. What's your nationality? I am from India. Okay, so your credit account balance is this, and for more information you can check like this. And after that, all chats saved. So we are getting this message called from the custom action, which is this one. And if this action has been executed successfully, so that means we must have got an output for this. So let's go to local 2, and over here you can see you have a complete conversation. Let's say you have a complete data that you have printed for the conversation, let's say for the tracker.event. So now we have the data in this format. So let me show you how we are going to handle this data now. Now over here, just for the demonstration purpose, let me do one thing. Let me go to let me first copy this data, and let me first go to Python console, and over here let's do one thing. Let me take one variable, let's say AA equal to, and just save the complete data into it, right? Now you can simply print AA. Okay, sorry, not like this, I forgot to add the brackets. Okay, so this is a complete data, but right now I cannot understand, or let's say I cannot identify what data we have in this. And right now in the beginning, as you can see, we have a square brackets, and inside that square bracket we have the curly bracket. So that means we have multiple elements for that. So first of all, let me show you that what is the length of AA. So length of it is 22. So that means we have multiple data. So to understand it, let's do one thing for I in AA, and let's see what data I have over here for I. Now over here, can you see? This is a complete data that you have right now. So from here, it's simply understood that you are having a list, and in that list you have multiple dictionaries. So these are the multiple dictionaries. Now if you will notice the data carefully, you will understand that first one is action, and inside action what you're getting, like start in the beginning, your conversation is starting. So that's the reason action underscore session underscore start. So this is the policy that is started, or let's say this is the action which is started in the beginning. And after that session started, session has also started at this timing. Okay, so this is one. And after that another action, and this time the action is action underscore listen. That means it will wait for you to enter some data so that the conversation can start. Now after that, now I'm the user and I said hello. So in short, you can see if the event is user, that means we are the user, or let's say we are the one who is entering some data. Okay, we have entered some data. Similarly, user featureizer, so it's something else. It's just to tell you like what featureizer you're using, right? It's not of any use to us right now. And after that action, what is the next action? For this hello message, which is the user input, you're getting the action called as utter underscore greet. So in this way, we have the input, we have the output. So all the information are displayed to you in this format, right? So user is the message which we are entering. Bot is the message which the bot is going to give you as a reply, right? So for this, you can see if it is an event for bot, here is the message that you will get in the reply, right? So this is how you are going to get it. Clear? So in this way, we have this. Now what next we have to do? Okay, for example, I know what is the user input, what is the user output. But right now, as you know that whatever user input that the user will provide, in that user input, you can have multiple other informations as well. Like you can have the intent. Similarly, you can have entities as well. Like, can you see over here? Currently in hello, there was no entity. So that's the reason the entity is completely empty. So that means we don't have to work on that. Similarly, you can check for the rest of it. Let's say I want to know about credit, and in here you can see, can you see this is entities, and in entities, entity is the account is the entity name, and after that you can check in here, and the value is credit. So in this way, we have the intent, we have the entity, and we have the complete information about that. Now whatever information you want to collect from this complete information that we have just collected, Now we have to write a program for that, so that we can extract that information and accordingly we can store the data further, right? So that is all that I will be doing. And to do that, right now what I have done is I already have written a small code for it. Yeah, over here you can see, let me change it to AA. Currently AA is the one where I already have the data, and in this currently what I'm doing is I am just writing a small code in which I am just collecting the user input and the bot reply, plus if there is some entity then it will show you the entity data as well. So let me run it and let me show you what will be the output as per the data that you have got right now. So can you see user, this is the input for the user, this is bot, hey how may I assist you, and here I said I want to know about my credit account balance, and this is the extra data. Extra data is like if I have the entity, right? Now what is the extra data? Account is the entity name, and what is the value for that? So this is the value for that. So in this way I have the complete information, and now it's up to me how I want to store that information. And as we have said in the beginning that we will be storing that data in the text format or into the CSV format. Now based on that, in whatever format we want to store the data, we will be first manipulating that data into that format, right? Now for example, I have to store this complete data into the text format, or let's say into the CSV format. So what I will be doing is, let me show you. I will be writing a data in such a way like the first row which I will be adding to my text file, that will be like the column names. For example, user input, second one will be bot reply, you can say that, or whatever name you want to assign, that's up to you. And after that, what else? Entity name, entity value, or also let's say if it is about the user input, so let's say intent, what is the intent for that? Similarly it's a bot reply, so let's say action for that. So this is a bot reply, or let's do one thing, let's shift it over here, like action should be before and intent should be before. So in this way we can adjust it. So in this way what we are doing is we are just extracting the complete information, and now we will be organizing it in such a way that we can store that information into the text file or into the CSV format. So in this way we will be doing it, right? So now let me do one thing, let me write this complete code so that I can add this data, or let's say I can store the complete data into the CSV file or into the text file, right? Now over here I have this data, let's say conversation, for example, this is a conversation. Now let me write the code. So here I have the code, and here just change it to conversation. And now in here what I have to do is I will have to update this code, because currently the code which I have written right now is to print whatever data you have collected. But if in case I don't want to print the data, instead I want to store the data, so I have to write a code to update the data into there, right? So that's what I will be doing right now. Now for that, firstly let's do one thing. Instead of writing the data in this format, what I will be doing is I will be first writing one more thing, and that one more thing will be that I have to first verify that if I already have the data existing or no, right? Or and that will be checked if in case we are using the CSV file. But if in case you are using a text file, in that case you don't have to do it further, right? But for the first time it's better that we will check it, because I have to write a code as per that first of all. So let me just write a code for it. I will be importing OS. Or let's do one, let me write the code and after that I will explain you. So let me write the code right now. Alright, so now you can see I have written the code for it, and now as per that what I'm trying to do is over here is like, firstly I'm just checking that whether that chats.txt file exists or no. If that file exists, then in that case I don't have to do the rest of the things. I will directly collect the data and I will store it into the text file, right? But for example, if I don't have that file, then in that case it will have to first create this file, and it will have to add these data over there, or let's say it will have to add the column names into the file. right? So this is what exactly I'm doing right now, and based on that I have just extracted the complete information as per the data that we have got for tracker.event. So this is what we will get right now. Now let's do one thing. Let me rerun the action server and let me show you that whether we are able to collect this data and to further store it into the text file or no, right? So let me just show you that first of all. So let's go to the terminal and first of all stop this and rerun the action server. And currently we don't have to let's say restart the conversation, so just because we already have the complete conversation over there. But if in case you feel like that the conversation is already gone, like already held, so that means that we have to start the conversation again. So just because of that reason, what we can do is we can start the Rasa shell again, so that the conversation will start from the beginning and we will not get any previous data in there. So that is what our motive is, and that is how we will be working right now. Alright, so the Rasa shell is up and running. Now let's talk to the bot. So let's say hello. Okay, I want to, let's say, how may I assist you? So let's say I want to, now what's your account number? So what's your nationality? I'm from India. Now your credit account details, or let's say your credit account balance is this much, and for more information you can check this. And at the end you have this message, all chat saved. So all chat saved, that means your data has been extracted and your data has been saved. So let's check in there first of all. Okay, so just because I was also printing the data as well, so that's the reason I have the value as well. Now the last thing is that I have the data into this. So let me go in here and let's check the chats.txt. So can you see what is happening? Alright, intent, user, this. So everything is there and I am able to get all the data. Now let's try the same thing, not here into the text file. Let's do the same thing for CSV file now. So if you will notice the CSV file and the text file, it will look quite similar, because in the CSV format, what exactly it is, it's like you have a comma separated values. So you have the complete data into the comma separated values and you can store the data in this way. And with that, what will happen is you will be able to store the data into the CSV format and to further open it into the CSV file, or let's say into the Excel sheet. So in that way you can open it up. So now we have this. Now let me run it again and let's see whether we can do it on right. So let me rerun the action server, because the changes are only in the action server, right? So now let's start the conversation again. Okay, so everything is set up. Now what happened? Okay, I think there is one mistake and we have got an error for that. And what was that error? The error is coming in here. For the metadata for this, we are unable to fetch this information for the bot part. Alright, so I got it. What's the problem? So the problem is just because for the previous chats that we already have in there, there is a message, or let's say there is a message coming from the bot side, and that is not triggered to you as per the action that we have predicted. It is coming to you as per the custom action that we are defining as per this action, which is action save conversation. So that is the reason we are getting this error. So in that case, what we can do is we can do one thing, or let's say we can do two things. One is either we will use the exception handling, or the second thing is either we will stop the conversation and then we will restart it, right? Because now we know when we will get the when we will get this error, right? So just because of that, we can set this up. Now let me do one thing. Let me do the exception handling. Exception handling will be done over here. Let's say try. And what is the error? Key error, right? For example, if it will be a key error, then what I want is I just want to pass it. Don't go for it, just leave it, right? So in this way it will do it. Now let's restart this, and now definitely it will work, right? Okay, so now everything is set up. Now let's say hello. Okay, so now you can see this time we are not getting any error. Instead, everything is saved successfully. Now let's go to the next step, and the next step is you can check in here. Everything is done successfully, and for that you have to go to this and check for chats.csv. Now open it up. Now you can see you have a complete conversation. So this is greet as per the intent, this is hello, this is the user input, this is entity utter greet, and similarly entity value, this is the value for that, right? And rest of the actions we don't have, and that's the reason we are not having it right now, right? So this is all about it. And other than that, in rest of it you can also check what other things we have. Okay, anyways, the problem here is that entity name and entity value are not present. So in that case we have to specify one more thing, that there should be empty value. It should not be like it is directly shifting the data to this point, right? So in that case you have to do one more thing, right? But anyways, now that is all about the data, that is the code that you have to write, right? Otherwise everything is clear, right? Now in this case you have one thing left, and that is you can simply say comma and comma, two commas will be there, right? One for this one and second one for this one. So in this way we will have the data, right? Okay, now you can save it and rerun it. Now let's start the conversation again. Okay, so this time the conversation is saved, but just because we already have the previous data as well, so that's why the conversation will not start from the above. Instead it will start from the down. You can see in here, right? So here we have it. So this one is for the first value and this one is for the second value, and accordingly you have the rest of the data, right? So in this way we have the data, we have the complete conversation stored in a proper format, right? And now not only about this thing, now if I will go to the actual location of my CSV file, then you will notice that not only in the CSV format, you can open this CSV file in the Excel sheet as well. So let me open it up for you. Let's open it up. Alright, so now you can see in here that you have your complete data, and the data is stored in this format, that this is intent, this is user input, this is entity name. But here in the beginning there was some mistake, so that's the reason the data is not in correct over here, right? So that's the reason we have to shift it. But otherwise you can see in rest of the things, wherever we have the entity, or let's say wherever we don't have the entity, there is empty spaces, right? So you can see like this. So in this way you can see how we can collect the information and how we can store the data into the text format and into the CSV file. So that is all about for the today, and I hope everything is clear to you. But still, if you are facing any difficulties in understanding the topic, feel free to leave a comment below in the comment section. And also if you have any feedback for us, feel free to leave a comment below as well. And also if you have liked this video, do click on the like button. And if you are new to our channel and if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, do click on the subscribe button so that you do not miss any videos from our channel. Till then, bye bye and happy learning.